Welcome back to Clone Balloons, everyone. So, you might have heard I did a ranking for all the best, worst clones on my channel, but today we're gonna be ranking the worst equipment in the game, which is probably used in multiplayer. So, anyways, let's go straight away into Clone Armies. So, you might have heard of your favorites, right? So, Clone Armies, we're gonna be doing challenges. Oh, I just meant to click on the gunner. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be ranking the top 5 worst equipment in the whole game. The lag still a bit overwhelming. Okay. So in multiplayer you play competitively against your enemies, but we're gonna be ranking these 5 worst equipment, which is quite underrated, traits and the worst as well. Even powerless. But the powerlessness comes from some of the equipment. So alright, the first worst equipment, oh yes, it is the medical station. The medical station is medically designed to heal up your clones, but it has a minigun. So this thing will magically work for your clones. So this equipment is mostly not used in multiplayer. This thing is so trash. Like it doesn't heal that much, unlike the medic clone. But the minigun does quite low damage, and it does have moderate health, so which makes this equipment a little bit tanky. So unfortunately, this equipment is not medically made to tank heal properly, because this thing is magically trapped. It doesn't even heal anything. The medkits will miss, but sometimes it will come to you nonetheless. So that should be the worst equipment. You should avoid it, because this equipment is the worst. Alright, the second worst equipment is the artillery. So artillery kind of sucks. So artillery could be a little bit annoying to face against, but unfortunately this equipment is quite underused, and it doesn't bring that much value out of multiplayer. So your opponents mostly dodge or your artillery more shells. That means no shell shock. That means so this thing is legitimately the worst. So it's alongside the medical station, because medical station is not a very strong equipment. So artillery is placed in the list. So most of all the clones, including flyover clones, flyaway clones, which is the jetpack, and other clones which has high movement speed, and all that could dodge the artillery. But sometimes the giant will get hit by it, which is why this is so slow. Okay. So the next equipment's going on our list. That's right, the MK2 turret. This thing is pretty much an expensive version of the MK1 turret. This MK2 turret is pretty tracked, so it is expensively tracked, unlike other equipment. So what is this equipment is the third worst, along with the other equipment. The artillery will be the second worst, and the medical station is the worst. MK2, the rockets, most of the rockets will be dodged immediately, no matter what, because something can happen to it. And it has a bit more health than MK1, but more damage. And the rockets can deal splats damage. So, this equipment is quite underrated, but it is still the worst. Because I got to level 5 doesn't mean it's tracked or something. Right, so the next equipment is going to be the worst. Should be the incubator, everyone. That's right, the incubator is not going to be that good. So the incubator, yes, it's completely tracked, yes, alongside other equipment we've talked about, like the MK2. So the incubator is not good because it clones in short intervals, so the interval time of cloning these clones should take up to 6 seconds, so unfortunately this equipment's not good. However, upgrading it does increase the clone's level generated by the incubator, so this equipment is quite underrated, and it's not even used that much. So the equipment is going on the downfall, which is, so this equipment doesn't even do that much, because it's not magical or something, but this equipment is not OP or something, but not powerfully, forcefully, peacefully, etc. So you could just kill the enemies easily, unless you use stronger clones. Right, and the last worst equipment should be the 5th worst. It should be the Tomahawk, everyone. The Tomahawk, yes. This equipment is so tracked, and it's never been used. It's really underrated, and this equipment it's not OP, so you can just avoid the attack easily. So, however, this equipment is not used. The rockets magically works best against scritchy clones, so it can do a lot of damage, but it only targets the closest enemy. So this equipment can be a bit annoying due to the missiles, but it is really slow. So I think the Finn wouldn't do much because how bad it is. So the Tomahawk's not gonna be that good, so you should not underestimate it because how tracked it is. Because this equipment is not used. Okay, so that should be it. The top 5 worst equipment. And these equipments are legitimately tracked, so please don't use them if you want to gather some wins in multiplayer. So that should be it. Subscribe to me, turn on notifications bell, comment down below which thing I want to do next, and what video ideas and many more. So the comebacks here for me. So that could be it. Have a nice day. Invade Frederico's lab in the straightaway, because you want to invade his lab. Frederico's straightaway lab where the clones are generated. So have fun invading his Frederico. Goodbye.